Hello guys on YouTube today. How are you guys today? Well, I want to talk to you guys today about some LED light bulbs. I'm experimenting with two 12-volt LED light bulbs, 2 watts a piece light bulbs. I'm experimenting with a Wayback 12-volt 23 amp battery and a traditional transformer, 12-volt transformer. You plug in your wall for the bulbs and stuff like that. But I'm also going to be adding a couple, like a switch. It's just an on and off switch to help for me to turn the light on and off. This is just something to keep the lights from overheating or burning themselves out. This will just help to turn them on and off. And by the way, these are not just your typical screw-on style lava lamp sockets. These are completely a different set of sockets. You see, these are a push-in style socket. This little bracket I made here, or I drilled a hole in, it's just a piece of aluminum scrap, aluminum I had laying around in my room. And these both come out like this. And there's the sockets on the aluminum rack. And yes, I have a center hole for mounting this onto my clock project. And I also have a couple wires a little bit longer, but we're going to leave those a little longer in case if I have to add anything else to them. Let's go ahead and talk about these LED light bulbs. These LED light bulbs are a 2-watt LED light bulbs a piece. These work off a 60-hertz electrical or AC, but you are going to need a 12-volt power source to on these bulbs. I have 2 of them. If I had a third socket in the middle, I would actually have 3 of these bulbs. But these are those 2-pin sockets. 2 pins. These just fit right in the little guy here. You just line them up, and you twist them in now. Now these can be a little bit fiddly. Sometimes you want to go in now, and sometimes you can be quite a pain, and you can push right in there. Now again, be very careful. Sometimes these aluminum housings can bend, and you just push them in and you lock in pretty good. And these are the 12-volt LED light bulbs, and we're going to go ahead and test them out for you guys with a Wayback 12-volt 23 amp hour battery. Now this is just a standard size battery. You can get these down at your local Walmart, Lowe's, any place that sells batteries. And you can also pick up these bulbs as well down at your local hardware store. And I have them screwed down with the nuts that actually came in the little lock rings, lock washers to actually hold them in place. Now, the way I configure this light socket to work is I'm going to be tying them both together, and I'm just going to go ahead and use this 12-volt very small compact battery, but I may not be use this for the actual project for lighting up my clock inside of the shadow box I'm going to be making. Now I have one one end is the negative side and one end is the plus side. Now you see, you light up pretty good with the 12-volt battery, but you see they're pretty dim for a 2-watt light bulb. You light up pretty good. And let's go ahead and go ahead and test it out with the 12-volt adapter here. This is just a 12-volt. You gotta make sure you got a 12-volt adapter. This is just a just a wall adapter and has a male end on it. But before we actually plug into the wall outlet, we're going to go ahead and stick the plus end of the electrical wire into the end of the plug, and we go ahead and plug it in. Now, this is a very low voltage. This won't harm you guys or anything like that. And we are going to power it up. And you guys can be blown away by showing you guys the 12-volt bulbs look very brighter than the battery alone. Oh, I see polka dots, but this is kind of like what this experiment's going to look like inside my shadow box with the 12-volt bulbs. Now, I'm going to be wiring it up with a switch before I can turn it on and off when I also want it to be on to look at the time. And also, I also don't want it to be on all 24/7. I want to make sure it's off. And if you don't know what clock I'm making a clock out of my used Black & Deckard saw blade. This is what's going to be my clock face, again, of my clock inside the shadow box. This is my light source to be able to light up the inside of the box. Now, again, you could probably get some light strips to put inside the box, but I already looked at how much those light strips are going to cost. They're pretty expensive, and I decided, maybe I can just make something out of these 12-volt bulbs. Now, these will work just by themselves as well if you want to wire them up that way too. I just have to push these guys up. Now, it doesn't matter if I take this bulb out. Okay, if I take this bulb out, this bulb will still work just fine without having the two lights in now. But if you want it to look a little bit brighter, kind of stick a non-bulb inside. Now this also, you can also use a halogen light if you wanted to. But I'm just going to use some 12-volt bulbs here for my clock project. Now again, these are very pretty nice light bulbs. Now let's go ahead and talk about the plug I'm using. I'm just using just a standard adapter. It says 12 volts on the output of the plug itself. Now the input is AC and the output's 12 volts, and it has 0.2 amps on the just amps for the light bulbs to work. And let's go ahead and talk about this little light source now. This light source here is just a straight piece of scrap aluminum. I drilled a hole, 2 holes for the sockets to able to fit inside. The center hole is going to be mounting the bracket inside of the shadow box. Now again, I left the wires a little bit long because I don't know how I'm going to route this inside the box yet. And these are just a traditional push-in style socket bulbs. And this is a very lightweight projects to make out of these used push-in style connectors. So now these are not regular screw-on bulbs, but you could probably change these into a regular screw-on bulb if you had a changing kit as well. Now I only screwed them down with the screws or the lock washers on both sides, and also the nuts to actually hold the sockets into place when I put the bulbs inside the sockets. A pretty nice looking scrap piece of aluminum I just had laying around in my house and decided to go ahead and use that. And I'm just using these two LD 12 volt bulbs. They are pretty nice, and indeed I can kind of see I messed this one up a little bit, but that's okay because that's by changing these bulbs in and out. But after you mount this inside your clock in your shadow box, you're not going to have to change these bulbs that often. And I was thinking more of using a 12 volt battery source, but again, that's just not going to work for these AC bulbs. Now I'm just going to use this just a standard traditional on and off switch. And by the way, I will desolder all these little wires and components on this switch, and I will put some connectors on the switch. Now if I don't like this switch, I also have a non-switch I also can use for this project as well. But I would prefer to have a switch to turn the LED lights on and off. This is just a project I'm just working on, and I hope I can get finished, and I think it would look really good with these LED bulbs in them. But if not, I can always just buy a couple light strips of LEDs. Now again, these are a soft white bulb, LED bulb itself. Now you could probably find these at your local hardware store, like maybe Lowe's, Home Depot, whatever hardware store you have. You can probably find these down there as well. Now the way these go in is you line up the pins first, and you're just gonna push, and you give this one a push. What? Not again. Well, apparently what I need to do is I need to unbend one of these tabs on the bulb. Apparently I'm having some issues with this bulb being bent in with the clamp. Hold on here, guys. Let's go ahead and take my wire cutters or wire strippers here. I'm going to take this off video here real quick, and we're just going to go ahead and twist out that little problem there before we stop destroying these LED light bulbs here, or the metal casing of the LED bulbs. Now these should just fit perfectly in though, and there we go. No more scratching it up, but yeah, that happens. These are just those very soft metal sockets. Now, I just took these out of those old sockets I had laying around as well. But that's what it's going to be a good project, I think, guys. But alright, guys, if you are new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button. Please leave a comment below if you like the idea of what I'm going with on how to light up my shadow box for my clock. Please like, please share. Peace out, guys. We'll see you in the next vlog.